Ami Ayalon has said, if we shall not end the occupation, we shall not have security. And if we shall not end this occupation, we shall not have democracy. Is he right? And if he is right, what are his policy recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, in the West Bank, Palestinians do not live in democracy. Israel is a democracy. Democracies can do undemocratic things. Democracies can have undemocratic spaces. Democracies can have failures. Democracies can have deeply confused traps that they don't know how to get out of. That is not unique to Israel. That is, well, a lot of brilliant Americans have argued essentially this argument that there is a lot wrong with America, but there is a lot right with America that can fix over time what is wrong with America. I don't think there's a democracy in the West Bank for Palestinians, obviously. But will that destroy Israeli democracy? I don't know how to, I don't understand how the process would work. That was an argument I used to think was very serious, and I used to think we really need to worry about. And then I grew to really be quite skeptical of how left-wing Israeli elites think about Israeli democracy. Because of a debate that we're having about the Supreme Court over the last few years that's irrelevant now. But the point is, I don't think Israeli democracy will fall because of the West Bank occupation. I don't think Israel will fall because of the West Bank occupation. What I do think is the Israeli left, shattered by the Second Intifada, no longer really able to explain to us the end of your question. How? What? What do I do? I am asked by, for example, Columbia University activist students, by the way, driven to that argument by Palestinian elites at Columbia. In other words, Palestinian diaspora elites like Rashid Khalidi or Noura Erikad, or, this is a Palestinian construct in some ways, at least an elite one of a particular Palestinian elite. I am told that if I don't pull out of the West Bank, they're going to squeeze me and pressure me and make me ostracized and sad. And Hamas tells me that everywhere I pull out of, they're going to murder my children from that place. Watch me. Now, they don't understand, because of the profound ignorance that underlies this movement and the dehumanizing shrinking of me into this cartoon, that they're debating each other in my head. And Hamas is louder. So what do I do? And how do I... If the West Bank shrinks me down to 9 miles wide in the middle of the country. The West Bank, I can, with a weapon you can carry on your shoulder, not even a heavy one, an 88 millimeter mortar, for example. You can shut down my one international airport and most of my major cities, and then walk away on foot. The West Bank is a spectacular danger for Israel. It is the highlands overlooking the entire coastal plain where the vast majority of Israelis live. I can pull out of the West Bank if it is safe. Nobody knows how to make it safe. I have had at least 2 elections where Israelis knowingly have voted for it. And it ended in terrible, terrible bloodshed. So what Israelis, and again, what I just described is the Israeli historical experience of the mainstream of Israeli Jews. There are other experiences, other interpretations among Jews, among Arabs. You don't have to agree with that. This is objective history that I just delivered. But it is what most Israeli Jews think happened to them. And if you don't address that, you're not going to make a dent for Palestinians. I need to know how. Ami Ayalon's morals are in the right place. His patriotism is unquestionable. He's the former head of the Navy and of the Shabak, and he's a very great Israeli. He knows more about the West Bank and the Middle East than I do. He refuses,
and he knows the dark side of Israeli behavior too, which I think weighs on him in some way.
I agree completely, and it should weigh on us. We're Israelis, and we make terrible mistakes sometimes. But he needs to tell us how, because if he doesn't tell us how, he's not explaining to us how he's not making the dent he thinks he's making.